Hey everyone, today I'm breaking down my long-term thoughts on the 2022 Specialized Tarmac SL7 after 2.5 years and over 21,000 miles of racing and riding. This isn't a spec sheet review. It's a real-world perspective from a full-time dad, full-time worker, part-time racer, and full-time obsessed cyclist. I'm Greg Tiki, and this is the Recreational Rider to Racer vlog series, brought to you by Bespoke Endurance. My journey with the SL7 started when it first launched back in 2020. Whether the bike was actually that good on paper or I'm just a sucker for good marketing, I was instantly hooked. The idea of a do-it-all race bike, lightweight, aero, fully integrated, merging the SL6 and Avenge into one race weapon, I was sold. That same year, I was hit by a car. Luckily, through the insurance claim, I had the opportunity to build up a dream bike, the SL7. Because of supply chain issues during COVID, complete bikes were impossible to get, and prices were constantly climbing. I managed to grab just one frame set, which surprisingly went only $300 up during that time. When I first got the frame, I wasn't thrilled about the white color and green logo, but my views on that have completely changed. I think it looks amazing. When it's cloudy, the logo almost appears as a smoke gray or darker tone, but in the light it pops that snake eyes green. To finish the build, I picked up a BMC tarmac from my local shop. They were awesome and swapped over all the components onto the SL7 for me, which let me immediately sell the BMC frame set and hit the road on my new setup. Now, nothing was wrong with the BMC. It seemed like a great bike, but it didn't have the full internal cable routing, and like I said, I'm a sucker for marketing. Now let's get into what the SL7 actually feels like to ride. Over the last 21,000 miles, I've taken this bike through just about everything. Double centuries, race-paced group rides, crits, road races, plenty of steep climbs, and longer sustained climbs as well. What stands out most is its versatility. On long days in the saddle, the SL7 strikes that sweet spot between stiffness for efficient power transfer and just enough compliance to keep things comfortable. It doesn't leave you feeling beat up, which is huge when you're riding for hours. Where the bike really shines, though, is once you get up above 24 miles per hour on the flats. That's when it comes alive. I remember telling my dad when I first got it, this thing feels like a rocket ship. Now, to be clear, I don't mean it feels like an e-bike where the effort disappears. What I mean is, compared to my old aluminum bike, holding higher speeds takes noticeably less effort. I can stay faster longer. In races, it's sharp and responsive, easy to maneuver in a pack, and quick to react when you need to accelerate or attack. And when it comes to climbing, the SL7 doesn't disappoint. It's light and efficient, especially on steep grades, and never feels like you're dragging dead weight. Along the way, I did make a few upgrades to dial in the fit and performance. I swapped out the stock saddle for something more comfortable. I switched to narrower handlebars, which helped me improve both my aero position and overall comfort. But without a doubt, the biggest upgrade I made to the SL7 was the wheels. I originally had a set of DT Swiss Arc die-cut 1450s. They were okay wheels, they felt quick and decently aero, but at nearly 1,750 grams, combined with a narrow 17 millimeter internal width and a 27 millimeter external, and a very deep 62 millimeter rim profile, they really struggled in crosswinds. I never felt light with them, and I never felt fully stable on them, especially on gusty, windy days. The bike felt fast, sure, but I was always fighting the wind, which made it harder to stay confident on open roads. Eventually, I upgraded to the Roval Rapide CLX2 wheels, and the difference was night and day. The front wheel alone has a 21 millimeter internal width, a massive 35 millimeter external width, and a shallower 51 millimeter profile. And that combination dramatically improved crosswind stability. The bike felt more planted, more predictable, and overall way more confidence inspiring, especially on the descents. It honestly changed the way the bike rides. I used to avoid windy days with the old wheels. Now I go out and I feel solid and fast. That one upgrade completely transformed the SL7. Now, just as a caveat, I currently run the Roval Rapides with Vittoria Corsa Pro 30 millimeter tires, set up tubeless and pumped up to about 60 PSI. Okay, so what do I not like about the bike? Right now, the first thing is my positioning on it. When I first got fitted to the bike, I was coming off an injury that I mentioned earlier with the car. So I hadn't been riding in a while, and I would say the fit I got was definitely more on the recreational side of the spectrum. Since the initial fit, I've added way more intensity and volume to my riding. The most noticeable setback currently is the stem length. When I want to get into the aero position, I feel smashed in. I want to go significantly longer to allow me to get into a more aggressive position. I noticed this in a recent road race where I got in a solo breakaway and just felt like my positioning wasn't as dialed in as it should be. I could feel it. I wasn't stretched out enough and I wasn't as aero as I wanted to be. That is going to be the next upgrade and probably another fitting, as my original fit was 4 years ago. Another issue, and this one really frustrated me, is that the clear coat on the fork started peeling about a year and a half in. At first, I thought it was just dirt or a scratch, but it kept getting worse every time I cleaned the bike. By the time I looked into warranty options, it was already out of coverage. Specialized is known for having high quality finishes, so this was a letdown. I didn't realize clear coat defects were something covered under warranty, and unfortunately, I found out too late. I reached out to Specialized, and the best they could offer was a discounted black fork, but I have to pay to get it painted to match. I passed on that. If I wanted to spend that kind of money, I could just repaint the fork I already have, and I really don't want to do that either. I've checked and confirmed that it's not a structural issue, it's purely cosmetic. So for now, I'm just going to keep riding it and watch the clear coat slowly peel away. So after all those miles and all those different types of rides, how has the SL7 held up? Honestly, it's held up incredibly well. It still is just as comfortable and responsive as the day I got it. Even after long, grueling days in the saddle, I finish rides feeling good, not beat up. And when I want to put the power down, the bike still responds instantly. That snap, that efficiency, it hasn't faded, which is huge, whether I'm chasing down a breakaway or going after a local KOM. 2.5 years in, and I still feel incredibly lucky to own this bike. I go out for a ride and I catch myself smiling, thinking, I can't believe this is my bike. But maybe the most interesting thing is how this bike has grown with me. When I first got it, I was still getting back into shape after my accident. The SL7 felt like a lot of bike, almost more than I deserved at the time. That was actually part of my motivation to start training consistently. I wanted my fitness to match the caliber of the bike that I was riding. Since then, I've gotten fitter, stronger, and more experienced. The SL7 has continued to meet me at every level. It's adapted to my more aggressive riding style, my longer days in the saddle, and my evolving race tactics. It's been with me through the entire journey from recreational rider to racer, and it's truly been like a partner every step of the way. So at the end of the day, the SL7 is still one of the most well-rounded race bikes out there. It's fast, responsive, and light enough, but also surprisingly comfortable and versatile. Whether you're just stepping up from group rides into racing or you've been competing for years, this bike meets you where you are and still pushes you to level up. If you're the kind of rider who wants one bike that can do it all, climb, sprint, handle technical courses, and still feel good after a 5-hour ride, the SL7 is built for you. It's a race bike at its core, but it doesn't punish you for riding it every day. Even after 21,000 miles, it still feels like a bike I haven't outgrown, and that says a lot. If you've ridden the SL7 or are thinking about picking one up, drop your thoughts in the comments. What upgrades have you made to your bike? I'd love to hear about them. And if you're on your own journey from rec rider to racer, hit that subscribe button. We've got more content and race stories coming your way. See ya.